Down low, too slow. Damn it! He's lost his frickin' mind. Hi there, I'm Movie Man, saving you from terrible movies one film at a time. Today I'm looking at the very successful Marvel movie made by Sony called Venom. Oddly enough, that thing is still attached to Lupin. Anyway, is it as bad as the critics are saying? Or is it as good as the fans are saying? Well, let's find out. This is Venom. Or we are Venom. Ooh, it's really like to say that. So let's start off back in the mid-90s. I was first introduced to Venom in the Astonishing Spider-Man comics. Specifically, Astonishing Spider-Man number 8, and also Spider-Man the Animated Series. During this time, elsewhere in the world, David S. Goyer had written a script for a Venom movie, which was to be produced by New Line Cinema. You know, the guys that made a certain burn victim famous, aka Freddy Krueger. It was set to star Dolph Lundgren and would feature Carnage as the main villain. But this was never to be, as the rights were purchased by Sony Pictures due to Marvel coming close to bankruptcy during that time. And we all know how that went the first time round. There was also a time when Sony and Avi Arad were actively developing Venom alongside sequels to Spider-Man 3. And they hoped the character of Venom would add longevity to the Spider-Man franchise, like Wolverine did for 20th Century Fox's X-Men films. But that's enough history for now.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
So here's the lowdown. Venom is primarily based on the Venom Lethal Protector miniseries and the Planet of the Symbiotes story arc. Hardy said that, like Lethal Protector, the film is set in San Francisco. Fleischer chose to base the film on Lethal Protector because, as the first solo Venom series, it broke him free from Spider-Man. Spider-Man ultimately could not be included in the film because of a deal between Sony and Marvel Studios, challenging the writers to make a movie with a character that is defined by Spider-Man without Spider-Man. For this reason, they looked to the ultimate Marvel version of Venom, whose origin is not tied to Spider-Man, for inspiration. The Lethal Protector also gave the writers a solid foundation to explore the more heroic side of Venom, rather than the villainous side. Another example of where they have taken advantage of the wealth of material available is one of Venom's lines in the film. Eyes, lungs, pancreas. So many snacks, so little time. Was lifted unaltered from the comic Amazing Spider-Man 374. My favourite scene was the surprise of She-Venom, a character that has appeared many a time in the comics, but who is lesser known in the cinematic universe. The scene was brilliant, in which, after a game of tongue hockey between Weying and Brock, the symbiote went back to Brock, with the symbiote making some humorous comments. It's that right there that separates Marvel movies and Marvel characters from other contemporary characters out there. My only discrepancy with the film was that there was no Spider-Man. It would have been awesome to see these characters go up against each other with the visual effects of today, especially after the lackluster of Spider-Man 3's fight between them. After all, Venom is supposed to be a big brute compared to Spider-Man, and that's why we always like to see Spider-Man struggle and eventual triumph against all the odds. And I think we would have got that struggle with Spidey's inclusion. But does this mean that the film is as bad as the critics are saying? No. But is it as good as what the fans are saying? Also no. To me, it sits somewhere in the middle. Its story has been done before in better films such as Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man and others. But the special effects, the fact they tried to stay as close to the comics as possible, and Tom Hardy's acting more than make up for this. Is it breaking the mold? No. But it is a very watchable movie, with great special effects, and is a spectacle to see. So with that, If you have the time and are a Venom fan, there's a lot to see here. And as Venom said, so many snacks, so little time. I wonder how Lupin's getting on with the symbiote. I better go check.
Hello everyone, I'm Randy Daly, and this is the 6 o'clock news. So in today's events, we have a disgruntled YouTube personality, if it can be called that, Ludicrous Lupin, who has decided to go on a rampage at a local sheriff court in Kirkcaldy. He is rambling about some video game he's disgruntled about, named Friday the 13th. We go now live.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about a certain game. A game that you have been causing trouble for. Friday the 13th. So I am here to
fix that.
Hi, heroes. Stan Lee here, though I sure wish I weren't. I foolishly promised Tony Stark he could use me as a guinea pig for his wild experiments. Hey, if I'm still around after today's experiment, let me know if I made it. Enjoy.